Hello everyone, welcome to Upraise. I'm Mondira, and if you have been following along, you have already mastered the building blocks of programming, variables, data type, and operators, etc. But here's a thought. Ever wondered how GitHub manages code so efficiently, or how Facebook loads your feed in a flash, or how the Amazon feels so seamless to use? The secret lies in one powerful concept, which is function. They are the heroes of coding, making your programs cleaner, usable, and far more efficient. So, think about it. Would you really want to rewrite your discount logic or password checks every single time? Functions save you from that chaos by wrapping logic into neat, reusable blocks. Create once, use forever, just like your favorite track that never gets old. In today's session, we will explore the magic of functions, understand how they work behind the scenes, and put that knowledge into actions with hands-on experience and three exciting real-world projects. So open up your laptop, launch VS Code, and create a file named functions.js. It's time to level up your coding skills. Let's dive in. Let's start today's video with the most basic concept, function declaration versus function expression. Imagine you have a recipe book. You write down how to make chai and then list the steps. That's a function declaration. Or maybe you write a recipe on a note and save it in a folder. That's called function expression. Both make the same chai, but the way of writing is different. Let's see the code. Here if you write function greet name return hello, welcome to Upraise. Now if we console it, Priya. So let's see the output here. See, hello Priya, welcome to Upraise. Look what we wrote. Function greet name. This is called a function declaration. Function keyword tells the JavaScript, hey, this is function, and greet the function's name. Here in the name, the parameter in brackets and within this curly braces, here we write the actual code. This approach is called declaration because we are explicitly declaring the functions. And one special thing, function declaration using hoisting. This means you can tell the function before you define it. Look, here if we write console add 5, 3 function a comma b return a plus b. So the output is 8. This works because of JavaScript hoisting feature. the function definition moves to the top automatically. Now let's look at the function expression. Const multiply functions a comma b, and within the curly braces we'll write return a into b Notice the difference. Here we are using the const keyword and assigning a function to a variable. This is called a function expression because the function is an expression that's stored in a variable. So here's an important point. Function expression do not use hoisting. If you try to call the function before defining it, so that throws an error. Let's see it also. If we write it here like this throws an error. So because the variable must be defined before you can use it. So the basic difference are in declaration we write function name parenthesis and within the curly braces we will write the code, but in expression we declare it using const, then we will write the code. Here in declaration we use hoisting, but expression we do not. In declaration, when it's available immediately on top, but in expression after definition. The declaration is based for general purpose functions and expression is for callback specialized tasks. There's one more way, arrow functions. Here if you write const subtract equal a comma b, then the arrow function and curly braces we will write return a minus b. If we see the output here, this is 7 and again const equal x equal to x this is 25. Arrow functions use modern syntax with the equal to arrow symbol. They are simple and clean. We will explore arrow functions more in upcoming videos. So remember, declaration uses hoisting, straightforward approach, and expression. No hoisting, more flexible. Arrow, modern, clean, and concise. Now let's understand the important concept, parameters and arguments. You saw function declaration, but what does that name in the parenthesis mean in the function? That's a parameter. Parameter are basically placeholders. When you write the function, you specify, hey, I expect an input here and let's call it name. When you actually call the function and pass the value, that's called an argument. Let me explain with an example. Function introduce, sorry, here's a space, name, age, grade, console within the backticks, name, like this. Now Arjun 20 A. Now let's print it. Another sample. If we write here Ria 19 and grade B. C. So in the function definition, name, age, grade, these are parameters. They are like variables within the function scope. In the function call, Arjun 20 and A, these are arguments, real values. So parameters equal to template arguments equal actual data. Let's see another example. Here if you write function x comma y okay, if we console it, now if we console it, See, the same function called twice with different arguments. This is the power of functions. Let's see a real world example. Here, function apply discount. Discount price plus within the parenthesis discount price into tax rate by 100, and in the return we will write final price. Oh, again, if we write here const final cost equal apply discount is 1000 comma 20 comma 5. Again, const another cost equal apply discount is 5. Let's run it. So, price, discount percentage, and our tax rate, these are parameters. Here, 1000, 20, and 5, these are argument. So, from the first call, we got 801, and from the second call, we got 4500.5. So, same function, different data. This is called reusability. In another way, if you understand, function calculator num1 comma num2 comma operation. Now this is what called parameters, what the function expect, and the function call is this is called the arguments, actual values we are passing. The numbers and order of parameters are arguments must match. If you define three parameters, pass exactly three arguments in the same order. So let's move to default parameters now. Now think about this. What if someone doesn't pass an argument? Previously, you had to set a default value manually. And now if we write here function greet name, name triple equal undefined. Okay, the console. But this is repetitive. ES6 introduced default parameters which are much cleaner and smarter. Now here is our demo code. Function greet user name equal guest, and here we'll place a emoji. Here's our return statement. Here we will remove this from the bracket. See, name equal to guest and the emoji. This is a default parameter. If an argument isn't passed, the default value is used. This call in call one, both argument in call one and call two, both arguments are used. But in call number 3, no arguments, both default are used. This is super convenient. Now, next is expressions as default. Here, default values don't have to be static. They can be expressions too. If we write here function calculate BMI, here weight equal 70, height equal 1.75, in the return statement const BMI equal weight height into height, return BMI dot to fixed console. Again, in another example, if we see here function get discount 100 within backticks discount oh we have to console it. Here here default values will be used. So now sometimes we make some kind of mistakes, like function within this a equal to 10 and b return a plus b. So This is invalid. And the right process is default parameters always come first. So function like this. Default parameters default parameters must always come at the end. Remember, default parameter make code cleaner and reduce errors. Now let's understand the return keyword, and this is very important. The return keyword, this determines what the function outputs. If you don't use return, the function returns undefined. Let's understand. Function say hello. Let result 1 equal. Function with return, and next let result 2 5 comma 3. So notice the difference. In the first function, console.log prints to the screen, but function doesn't return anything. So result 1 is undefined. In the second function, return a plus b means the function returns 8, which gets stored in result 2. This is very important difference. So next is our multiple return statement. A function can have multiple return statements, but it stops at the first one it encounters. Check. Here, function if age 18, return you are an adult. Again, if we print here, return you are a minor. Here, the function stops here, but This only runs if age less than 18. So if we console it, check adult 20 and console check 15. Now if we print it, see a function can have multiple return statements, but once one is executed, the function stops immediately. So in check adult 20, the first condition is true, you are an adult is returned, and the second return never executes. You can return not just simple values but objects and arrays too. If we write here function get user info age city here. If we console user dot name console user dot age or city, see, this is very powerful. The function returns an object that you can use for further operations. So here's a smart technique. Check for invalid cases at the start and return early. So if we write here function process payment if amount less than equal 0, and here const tax equal to amount into 0.1 return amount plus tax. Now if we console it, if we print it, so here this is so use this pattern. Handle invalid cases first, then write the main logic and code stays readable and maintainable. Remember, the return keyword is the heart of your function. As you can see here, amount is too large, second is invalid amount, and next is amount is too large, more than 1 lakh. So like this. So now let's learn the most important concept, which is scope. Scope is a very important concept in programming. Scope means where is a variable accessible and where is not. Think about it. If you create a global variable, it's accessible everywhere. But if you create a local one, it's only accessible inside the function. Let me explain with detailed example. Global scope. Variable is accessible anywhere in the script. Here, if we write let global name Upraise function if we see the output, here's nothing. But if we write see, the global name variable is written at the top level outside any function. So it's a global scope. Now it's accessible directly in the script, inside functions, and anywhere. Next is our local scope. So local scope variable is inside the function. Let bonus equal 10,000, bonus and outside this we will write a function calculate. Here we will write calculate bonus. So this is the error. Bonus is not defined because bonus was inside the function, not accessible outside. So notice the bonus variable is inside the function. In local scope. Inside the function it works, but outside the function it's an error. Next is our nested scope. What if you have a function inside a function? That's nested scope. Let outside var equal to global. If we write here let outside equal to global, functions outer and if we console it here inner var outer var here this function will be inside this function outer function. Here the error was in inner scope. So this is called a scope chain. Inside the inner function, inner var is accessible in the same scope. Outer var is accessible in the parent scope and outsider var is accessible in the global scope. But inside the outer function, inner var is not accessible. In the child scope, outer var is accessible but in the same scope, and outside var is accessible in the global scope. So child scope can access parent scope, but the parent scope cannot access the child scope. And here's the important thing: where let and const have different scopes. Where function scope old way, but if we write function test where if true, here this is accessible, and where has function scope. Now this prints nothing, but let here the let block scope function test let if true, let y equal 20. This let has block scope, and in the const and this const also has block scope. So this is very important difference, where function scope old but don't use it. Let block scope modern use this, and const block scope also, and this is also modern. Block scope means whatever is inside an if block, for loop or while loop stays inside that block. So don't create too many global variables. It's an bad practice. Here's one advanced concept is closure. When you have a function inside a function, the inner function remembers the outer variables. So function create counter, let count equals 0, function increment count plus plus The increment function closes over the outer count variable. This is called a closure. This is a very powerful concept. We will explore closure more in future videos. Now you understand scope. So let's move to practice tasks. You have just learned how to create and use functions, how they make your code reusable, clean, and organized. Now it's time to test your understanding with a few short and fun tasks. I have got three function based challenges for you. So pause the video and try them on your own first. Then come back and check the answers with me. Now, first task is write a function that returns the square of a number. As you can see here, the output is 25. If we change it to something else, and let's check the output first. See, now take -3 and again test it. 9. So we have tested with different numbers. So all are correct here. Next task is create a function that checks if a number is prime or not. So this is the answer here. So here we have taken 7 and the output is true. So here we have written our prime numbers logic. A prime number is greater than 1 and divisible by 1 and itself. So here number less than equal to 1. Prime number must be greater than 1. That's why. And here is the logic. So if I equal to 2, it should be less than the number and I plus plus. If it returns false, then not prime, otherwise it's true. So let's check it. The outputs. See, it is showing false. This also is true. So if I explain the logic, so number less than equal to 1, it's not prime, return false. Loop from 2 to the square root of the number. If any number divides its number modulus I triple equals 0, it's not prime. If no number divides, it's prime. And our third task is write a function that takes two number and return the larger one. And here I have written the answer. So let's test it. Like this. It is very simple. If first number is greater, return it, or otherwise return the second number. The ternary operator condition checks if it is true or false, and it is very useful also. Now, if you got this right, then amazing. Congratulations, you have just mastered the basic of functions. Let's do a quick recap. We have learned function declaration versus expression, parameters versus arguments. Next is default parameters and then return keyword, scope, etc. So remember, functions are the building blocks of every real application like Netflix, Instagram, Twitter. They all use functions to organize the reuse code. Your next step is practice these three tasks and until you can write them from memory. Experiment with combining functions and try to identify functions in real websites using inspect element. In our next video, we will learn about arrays, another fundamental concept that you will use constantly. Until then, keep coding and keep learning. I'll see you in the next video.